Hey YouTube fam, it's a girl Consolata, and I seek to answer those questions that people really ask but really need answers, because so many times people have so many things that are happening in their lives but they actually cannot share with the next person. So on this channel we answer all of those questions that you have but you just never got answers. So today I'm very thrilled and excited because I'm joined by my friend and my mentor, Mr. Walter Somerai, who is a former student at the Harare Institute of Technology. He has a degree in computer science. And Walter is very passionate about hip-hop, and he has actually produced a few tracks of his own. And I'm going to drop all the links to his music in the comment section below. He's generally passionate about Orange Range Rovers. Like I just had to mention that he is so passionate about trailblazing. Like he's all about success. He's all about a good mindset and a good lifestyle. Today is going to be talking about depression, which is a state that generally disrupts the daily functioning, the full functioning of a human being on a day-to-day basis, which results from things like abuse when somebody was young, or exclusion, or being mistreated by family, and so many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome Mr. Walter Somerai.
Thank you so much.
How are you, Walter?
I'm alright.
I'm thrilled and pumped up to have you here on my channel.
Oh, thank you so much.
It means a lot to me.
Oh, same, yeah. Thank you for the invite. It's really good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So many people have been depressed,
Okay.
but they actually, either they didn't know they were depressed, or they didn't have someone to talk to when they were depressed. Because generally in Africa or in Zimbabwe, people don't talk about issues like depression. Like you just go through it on your own. No one really sits down with you, and no one has ever shared that they actually were depressed at one point. So people just decide to keep it to themselves. So in your own words, have you ever been depressed, and what is your own definition of depression?
Yeah. I've been depressed quite a couple of times. I wouldn't say most times, but for a very considerable amount of time I was depressed. And how maybe I can describe depression is, you upset yourself of things that you have sort of like accepted that you cannot change. So you are in a space of you're mad at yourself, but at the same time you think, or maybe it will be true, you can't really do anything about it. So you were just in zombie mode of being upset. You can't really do anything about it. So you sort of like accepted that, hey, this is what it is. So I'm going to be sad for the rest of my life. So I've been in situations like those where I've been depressed. I've been upset at other things that were happening in my life. And, initially I thought I couldn't change that. Because that's what I thought, or maybe that's what I was told. But as you sort of like look deeper into the situation, then you really study the things that you can change and the things that you cannot change. And you start working on the things that you can change. So now you shift your focus from paying attention that, oh my gosh, I'm depressed. Now you're looking at what can I do to change the situation. Sometimes, yes, you may change the situation completely. Sometimes you may change it partially. Sometimes you cannot even change it, but you've made an effort about it. And so it sort of like drives the depression away. You know that I'm accountable for this, so you can't be upset at someone else because this is all on you. So yeah, I've been depressed quite a couple of times, but I've worked my way around most of those situations.
That's really amazing. Wow. So I personally was depressed at one point, but I actually did not know that I was depressed.
Oh,
yes. So
okay.
How do you know?
Funny.
I didn't know I was depressed, but then I just felt lonely, like I'm alone in this world.
Yeah.
And, all those feelings. Like, how do you then actually know that you are depressed?
Well, I'm not too sure how exactly, but I think if as a person you start focusing too much on the negativity, on the bad things that have happened to you, on the things that you don't have, and how those not haves are making your life a bit less, more meaningful than the next person's. I think this is the point whereby you know you're depressed, because depression is not really a space of joy. It's a space of sadness. So whatever forces that work with depression really want to increase it. So you end up focusing on a lot of negativity. How many friends have left you, what your friends haven't done, or what they've done but perhaps they didn't do it right, or you know, somebody was supposed to buy you a gift for whatever birthday, they didn't do that, and you're really focusing on that, and sort of like magnifying the small issues that of course they may be bad but not really that bad. So I think if you find yourself in a space whereby you're focusing too much on the negative things constantly and not even appreciating whatsoever the good things that are happening in your life.
So to what extent do you think that being an introvert actually leads to depression? Like when you just keep to yourself, you don't talk to other people, you don't discuss what's really happening in your life. To what extent does that have negative impact on your life, how you think, how you feel?
Okay. Well, generally, I think that in life you can only heal what you reveal. So if I have some cancer, I know I have it, but the fate of me knowing that is not going to make that cancer go away. But if I go to a doctor or even to my friends, I feel like, hey, I got a cancer here, and maybe you know a doctor, then you take me to a doctor, then the doctors do what they do, they diagnose it, they fix it or whatever, then I get healed. So I think that the major challenge with introverts is that this is generally people who keep themselves to themselves. So they don't talk too much to other people. They don't tell them what's bothering them. They don't tell them what's affecting them. Even when they're excited, they don't even tell other people what they're excited about. So obviously one of the main reasons how people may overcome this depression will be to share, okay, with their friends. Hey guys, I'm facing this and that, and then your friends may come, they support you emotionally, you know, whichever way they can, so that you can overcome it much more quickly. But if you are alone and you keep yourself to yourself, that really does negatively affect you. So I would say, I think that introverts, they are more susceptible to depression, if I may say, and it might hit them much worse than it hits, say, an extrovert or something, because these guys, they just talk, you know, and their friends will just maybe sit them down or help them in whatever way they can, sort of like overcome, you know, that depression.
Thank you so much. That's profound, especially for the introverts, because actually statistics have shown that in the past year, the greater number of people that committed suicide were actually men. Those statistics also show that women are more depressed, but women tend to talk about it. Rather than men who just decide to keep it to themselves and then they end up actually committing suicide.
Yeah, these are the social pressures now. You know, as a man, by just the fact that you're a man, there are a lot of expectations that are on you. You know, people expect you to be strong, to be the provider, which we will be, we are, I get it, but we also can be vulnerable. We also can have points of weakness, and we need strength, we need motivation, we need encouragement. But society doesn't accept that. They're always thinking, oh, he's a guy, he'll be strong. So I become an introvert in a way, because I'm afraid of exposing myself to you, because you're probably going to be laughing like, oh, he's not a man. Men don't do that. And so you find out that I just keep that to myself, you know, because of what I'm afraid society might say about me. But then that doesn't really do me so good, you know, it affects me negatively. Hence perhaps the statistics whereby men are, you know, committing suicide more than the females. But it's rather sad. It's rather sad. I think if society can sort of like come to a point of understanding that yes, we are strong, but we're also vulnerable, just like the women are, you know. So if they can be more open to that, I think we can, you know, astronomically reduced these rates of
Astronomically.
people killing themselves just because they're depressed. Yeah.
I discovered that actually a lot of men have been sexually abused, especially when they were young. Not only men, but everyone in general was abused in one way or another. They've been disappointed by family, at work, all those kind of things. And the greater part of the times, they are depressed, but not only once. It's like a recurrence kind of thing. It recurs. Like they get over it, but then they bounce back into that period of depression.
Yeah.
So how can one overcome that?
Yeah. I think this might go back to our earlier conversation of you can only heal what you reveal. If something bad happens to you, and this was done by perhaps somebody at work, that may affect you negatively, okay? But that next person might not know that what they did affected you. So if you don't speak up, then chances of that person doing that again are high, because as far as they're concerned, that's cool.
Yes.
You didn't really express any bitterness or any dislike of whatever they did. So they're like, oh, that's cool, I can do that again. But then again, also not coming to the societal pressures that I mentioned earlier on, it's sort of like unacceptable for men to speak out on issues of abuse. It might not necessarily be sexual or whatever, but in the workplaces, people get harassed quite a bit. But it's a few men that do speak up, because men are expected to be strong. We're the ones who should sort of like own it and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure if it's correct to say, but I think our complaints are not valued the same way women's complaints are valued, because of these societal pressures. Of course, it's different with the environment. Some they take us evenly, but for most, they're still here to catch up. So then we as men, then we just say, what's the point? Even if I'm gonna tell them, if anything, they're gonna laugh at me, because they think that I'm being weak. So we just decide to tell you what, I'm gonna keep this with me, and I'll probably find a way to address it. But then again, we don't find the effective ways of addressing that, so people end up doing it again. We get frustrated and upset some more, and we can't do anything about it, and then we're depressed, and that depression keeps on hitting us, and it becomes a cycle. So unless we learn to speak up, reveal these things that don't make us comfortable, I guess we really cut this old depression cycle.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Walter. I really learned a lot. Just speak it out, and I hope all the guys out there, just learn something. Just speak it out. Just tell someone. Don't be depressed alone.
Don't be depressed.
And I can give you Walter's contact too, so that you can contact him if you're depressed.
Yeah, terms and conditions apply.
So thank you so much. It
welcome.
was such a pleasure to have you here, and honestly, my life has been transformed by this conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, so I hope to have you here again next time, talking about these gender imbalances, because I notice you really like such topics.
It's a sensitive issue, so there's a lot to talk about.
There is a lot to talk about.
So okay, so thank you very much, Consolata, for this, and to the viewers also who viewed this video, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to her channel, share it with a friend, and if you like it, just hit the like button, and see you next time.
Thank you guys for watching. Bye.